evening, and we are live here in Orlando, Florida, where Zionites from all over the world have gathered in Orlando at the Rosen Shingle Creek Hotel and Resort for the AME Zion summer meetings of the Connectional Council and the Women's Home and Overseas Missionary Society. We just opened our first session with worship this morning, and we have just completed the first set of reports from general officers of the AME Zion Church to the Connectional Council. We will continue our live coverage here in Orlando this week through the 26th of July. We hope that you will stay tuned and join us, and we will see you in a few.
Hi, I'm Reverend Samuel Brown with the Star of Zion, WSOZ News, the Star in Motion. I am here at the Connectional Council meeting. We have just adjourned from one of our sessions, and I have with me the Reverend Dr. William McKinneth, one of our general officers who is the head of our Historical Society and editor for the Quarterly Review. He also is the pastor of the Marable Memorial Church in Kannapolis, North Carolina. But more than that, Dr. McKinneth is offering himself for the highest position in the AME Zion Church, the office of Bishop. Dr. McKinneth, would you in a few words speak to us at the Star of Zion and our viewers on what you have to bring to the AME Zion Church by way of the office of Bishop? And if elected, what do you plan to do?
Yes, that's a great question. I would have you to know that I stand for strengthening Zion through maximizing resources and empowering people. In other words, we need to create a culture of best practices and fiscal responsibility, empowerment of the people, and measured productivity. If elected, I would implement what I call a three-pronged strategy that I refer to as REAP. That is R-E-A-P, as in reap the bounty of God's blessings, if I may.
Yeah.
First, R for fiscal responsibility. Conferences need to provide full financial disclosure and analyses of conference resources so as to enhance the stewardship of those resources for the sake of maximizing its value in order to finance doing ministry.
Yes,
E for empowerment of the people. In other words, we need to develop a well-orchestrated and effective evangelistic campaign that is implemented, formulated, and developed and financed on the conference level and coordinated on the district level for the sake of growing local churches. And that's the "and" is the A acronym. And then P for measured productivity. We need to create a culture of best practices and measured productivity, focusing on goals that are measurable, achievable, and sustainable in areas of growth, in discipleship, as well as in membership. And I would say that the harvest is plentiful, and together we can reap the bounty of God's blessings. And so that's why I think that people should consider my candidacy for the episcopacy. And certainly I need your vote, and I also need your prayers. I think that would summarize pretty much what I'm focusing in on.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so very much, Dr. McKinneth, for taking time out of your busy schedule to sit with us here at the Star of Zion.
Well, thank you for having me. I do appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Have it here, Dr. William McKinneth, candidate for Bishop in the AME Zion Church 2016.
Good afternoon, and WSOZ is back live here at the Rosen Shingle Creek Hotel and Resort for the AME Zion summer meeting of the Connectional Council and the Women's Home and Overseas Missionary Society's quadrennial convention. And we have with us Mrs. Cynthia Revels-Young, candidate for General Superintendent of the Buds of Promise, our children in the AME Zion Church. She is going to share with you about her campaign platform. They will be voting. When will they be voting, Sister Revels-Young?
Thursday, July 30th.
So she's going to tell us about her campaign and what she plans to do to elevate our children in Zion. Sister Young, we're so happy that you're here.
Hi, Addie. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Yes, I am running for the office of General Superintendent of the Buds of Promise Juvenile Missionary Society of the AME Zion Church. With that office, I would like to build up diligent servants in our children. I'd like to build up educational scholars. Our children are so smart, but sometimes no one ever sees that potential that's in them. And so I'd like to build up educational scholars. I'd like to build up educational foundations and spiritual foundations in our children. Our children need to know that no weapon formed against them will prosper. If they had that biblical foundation, they would be a little bit better. I'd like to build up good stewardships, financial stewardship in children. Our children need to learn at an early age about tithing and finances so that they could be lenders and not borrowers. I'd like to also build up healthy children. You see, our children have a problem with juvenile diabetes, heart attacks, mental illnesses. All of these things are a part of our children now. But if they learn to eat better and do better, then they would be better, and they could grow into wise and then young adults and then adults. So those are the 4 platforms that I'm standing on with our buds.
Thank you so much. You've heard it from Cynthia Revels-Young herself, candidate for the General Superintendency of the Buds of Promise. And we will be back.
Hi, I'm Reverend Samuel Brown with the Star of Zion, WSOZ News, the Star in Motion. I have with me now the Reverend Dr. Eric Leek, pastor of the Martin Temple AME Zion Church in Chicago, Illinois. Dr. Leek has offered himself for the office of bishop in the AME Zion Church at the upcoming General Conference in 2016. Dr. Leek, if you would, in so many words, share with us at the Star of Zion and with our viewers what exactly your platform is and what do you plan to bring to the AME Zion Church by way of the office of bishop.
Thank you, Reverend Brown, for the opportunity to share. My platform is Bridging the Gap, the balanced ministry, leading and praying on purpose. It is bridging spirituality and practicality, the spiritual and the temporal, being as excellent about the spiritual affairs of the church as we are with the temporal and the business affairs of the church. With the balanced ministry, there are 4 things that we offer: renewed faith, revitalized congregations, responsible ministries, and relational impact.
Thank you very much, Dr. Leek, for taking time off of the campaign trail to come and share with us at the Star of Zion.
Thank you
very much. I have here with me Bishop Richard Keith Thompson, the 86th bishop in succession of the AME Zion Church and the presiding prelate of the Mid-Atlantic II Episcopal area. Bishop Thompson on yesterday was just invested as the President of the Board of Bishops. Bishop Thompson, thank you so much for taking time to share with us here at the Star of Zion. If you would, in so many words, Bishop Thompson, share with us your vision as the President of the Board of Bishops, what you plan to do in the next 6 months as your term will be ending after 6 months, and how will this differ from the many times that you have held this position in the past?
Thank you, Reverend Brown. I have served as president, I think at least 3 times. The first time I was president was just prior to our bicentennial, and the emphasis was on the 200th anniversary of our church. This time is different because the times are different. The church is changing, and my goal for the next 6 months is to continue to prod the church in embracing change, and also to encourage us to move forward. There are 3 things that we talked about yesterday that are a must for our church if we're going to survive. The first is we've got to find a way to rebuild our membership. In too many of our churches, the memberships are not what they ought to be, and we cannot be satisfied with that. We've got to find a way to grow, and to grow means we got to open up the church. become more culturally sound and multicultural. So whosoever will, let them come, and we welcome them, that we become a more welcoming church. The second thing was we've got to talk more about expanding our church. There are too many areas where people do not know our church because we're not there. And it's time for us to go there in order to that we might carry out the type of ministry that God has called us to carry out. The time is now. When you think about the early expansion of our church, starting in New Bern, North Carolina, going down to Key West, Florida, over to Alabama, Louisiana, times are hard, but yet they went and they made the church grow. The last thing that I would hope that we would do during the next 6 months is to let's start talking about stewardship. Stewardship must be taught. It just doesn't happen. We've got to start with the very young and then grow up. That God expects us to be good stewards of whatever He gives us. Those are the things that I look forward to. They're very simple, but I think essential if we're going to survive as a church. Now, I see that our best days are not behind us, but our best days are before us. But we must embrace change, and I think we will. What is happening here at this Connectional Council has proven that our church is willing to embrace change. And I commend that to all of our people, that we would be excited about the possibility of change.
Thank you so very much, Bishop Thompson, for those words of wisdom and sharing with us on your vision and the direction that you want to take and steer the AME Zion Church as our head for the next 6 months.